You mentioned just briefly about putting people on pedestals or putting people whether below you or above you. Now, as I would say a world-class speaker, a well-renowned speaker, multi-million pound entrepreneur, how do you keep yourself balanced in your life? Because obviously there's a lot of people looking at you up on stage and thinking, wow, he is more intelligent than me, he is better than me, I can't possibly achieve what this man has achieved, and automatically putting you on a pedestal. How do you get around that particular issue? Because obviously you don't want that.
Well, it doesn't matter what they do. That's not my it's how I perceive it.
Okay.
As long as, if I see that a whole bunch of people are going to be enamored, then they're getting a false reality of who I am. I always say the wisest thing to do is to get your spouse out on the stage and let them tell you the other side. Because the truth is you're just a human being.
Yeah.
And you have things that, you have strengths and weaknesses. I have a strength in human behavior. I have a weakness in technology. I don't know anything about it. I've never had a cell phone. So I can start talking. If I see people enamored by something, I start saying goofy things, or I say things that humble it, to calm it down, to make them realize that they have in their areas of their highest values genius, and the areas of lowest value they have idiocy. We all do. And so it allows me to be just real, because it doesn't pay to be on a pedestal. It doesn't, it's distracting. And you end up having to deal with all the people that plug in their umbilical cords into you and living vicariously through you. And it's not fair to them. If I'm interested in helping them live their lives, that's not helping them. Cool. Because the wisest thing to do is to have them, as I do in the breakthrough experience, have them go and find whoever they admire and find out where they have those traits to the same degree in themselves. And my job is to do that. And in the process of doing it, if they've set up the fantasy, I can't control that. But if I see that, I can undermine that and have some fun with it by playing stupid things or games or whatever, just to make sure that they realize I'm just a guy.
Yeah, I can definitely vouch for that. Having seen you, as recent as yesterday, I was extremely.
I do that. I throw that out whenever I get really serious and really intense or whatever. When I see the audience going like that, I immediately throw out something ridiculous or a cuss word or something that really humbles me back down and back in the game again. Because it's not productive to have it where it's imbalanced.
And it's a good technique as well for those who are wishing to become speakers themselves, and they get up on stage, rather than following the one pathway, is to work like as you do. You just work with the audience. When you know you're getting over technical, you just throw something that's completely off key and just brings everyone back into the audience. And
yeah, I have
really
to play
works.
with that. Yeah, and if you get cocky, you get humbled by your audience, or you get humbled by your spouse, or you get humbled by your own life, because pride before the fall, Murphy's law, stuff happens.
Yeah.
So nature is automatically equilibrating, and I understand that law of nature. So if I do get above equilibrium and puff myself up, I'm humbled, and it'll be humiliating, and that's exactly what I need. I had a perfect example. I was speaking in Sydney, Australia many years ago, and I did this presentation to a group called Salespeople with a Purpose, SWAP. Okay. And there's a few hundred people, I don't know, 400 people, something. And I was on. I was I had the room. And it was an inspiring, tear-jerking stories and everything else. And afterwards, people were lined up to get books signed and this kind of thing. And I felt proud. I felt up. I was elated. I was foolish in that respect. So because I was kind of puffed up, this one lady came up to me and she says, a professional speaker, if he shows a tear, he would have had a cloth or a Kleenex ready, and you had to use it with, sniffle your nose. It wasn't professional. And I thought, oh, self-righteous lady, And I was so puffed up I didn't hear it. She was trying to actually bring me into equilibrium, but I wasn't ready to hear it because I was puffed up at that moment. So anyway, I left the thing. I went back to the Ritz-Carlton Hotel, and I was about to get my bag because I had to go off to the airport in Sydney to go back to LA. And it was quite interesting. A guy calls me right when I'm about to go out the door, and his name is Ron. And he said, John, is there any way I can meet with you? And I said, well, actually, I'm on my way to the airport. He says, oh, well, can I give you a ride there? And I said, well, I can cancel the car. You can give me a ride. So he takes me to the airport. He parks the car while I check in, then he comes in, and we go in, and we have some sushi together and some carrot juice. So I get the sushi, and I'm carrying the sushi to the table, and he comes up with these 2 giant carrot juices. And I had this silk Gucci outfit, and I was still kind of puffed up from my last talk as I was about to leave the country, right? And he comes in right at the last minute, he tripped, and 2 giant 32-ounce, I think, or something, big giant glasses of carrot juice just come tumbling, completely splashing my entire body like this. And I had this crud that smelled like baby puke. It was the funniest thing. And he just went, oh my God, he felt so bad. I said, no, stop. Don't feel bad. I've been above equilibrium. I'm cocky. I've been puffed up. I'm humbled. You did a perfect job. I walked on the plane, slosh, 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 slosh. People was going like, whoa. I had to put a towel on the thing. It was just, and by the time I got to Los Angeles, it was sticky. It was orange. It was exactly what I needed to be humbled. So nature, I always say that if I don't govern myself and bring myself into equilibrium by my own delusions of grandeur or minimizations, if I don't neutralize myself, then my physiology will do it, my friends will do it, or nature will do it somehow. So I trust the universe and its job and its wisdom to keep me back in center.